Hi everyone, my name is David. I'm the Fitwell Coordinator for Personal Training at the Student Recreation Center here at UC Riverside. Today I'm going to show you some chair stretches that you can do at your office or in the comfort of your own home. Now a lot of these stretches are going to target common areas of pain that we experience when we sit too much, especially with improper posture, okay? So as far as the stretches goes, I'm going to start from the top down. Okay? A lot of times we feel a lot of tension in our head, neck, and shoulders. So the very first stretch I want you guys to do is just to practice sitting tall and upright. I can imagine a lot of us, we spend a lot of time in this forward rounded position. As you can see here, in this position, my shoulders are being pulled forward. My neck is slightly deviating forward as well, right? And if you look at my upper back, it's also rounded. So first thing I want you guys to practice is just sitting as tall as you can. You might have heard this before, but I want you guys to imagine like there's a string at the top of your head running down your spine, and there's an invisible hand pulling on that string to go ahead and lift you up, okay? So this right here, just practice this. If it feels awkward, then that's probably something that we need to work on, okay? All right, now we're here. The first stretch I want you guys to get into is go ahead and interlock your fingers together. We're going to reach for the ceiling above us. And I want you to go ahead and lift up your chin and look up at the ceiling as well. All right? This right here, you should feel a stretch under your armpit down the lats. As well, you also feel a stretch in your abdominals and a little bit of your lower back as well, okay? All right, we're gonna hold it here for about 10 to 15 seconds. Just take a slow, deep breaths. Okay. Pause for a little bit. Now, while we're in this position, we're going to go ahead and stretch out our triceps. This is the muscle that sits on the back of our arm right here behind our elbow, okay? So first thing we're gonna do is take one hand. I want you guys to go and reach behind your back. Take your free hand, we're gonna gently place it on our elbow. And then just give yourself a slight pull, so like you're reaching down your back, okay? You don't need a whole lot of pressure for this one, just a little bit is all you need. As long as you feel the stretch down your arm, then you're doing right. Again, we're gonna pause for about 10 to 15 seconds. And then we're going to switch arms, shake it out, and let's switch sides. Take that hand, reach down your back. Let me show you from behind. Take that free hand, place it on your elbow, and then gently pull that arm down. And then just hold for about 10 to 15 seconds. As you can see, I'm staying tall in this position. All right, I'm not rounding, I'm not slouching. You wanna stay vertical here, okay? All right, now that our triceps are stretched out, let's go ahead and get more into those lats, okay? Our lats is a big muscle that sits behind our back, and it kind of wraps around from our spine up to our armpit. So to do that, I want you to go ahead and reach one hand up to the ceiling. We're gonna take that free hand, grab our wrist or our forearm, and we're just gonna gently reach over our head, all right? If you've ever performed the YMCA dance, just imagine you're doing the C, okay? So we're gonna hold it here for a little bit. Again, you don't need a whole lot of pressure, just a little bit is all you need. If you wanna feel the stretch down your armpit along the side of your ribs, primarily in the back side, okay? I'm just gonna hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shake it out, give me some shoulder rolls, and let's do the other side. Now, while we're holding the stretch, I also recommend looking up at the ceiling. Okay, so if you're not sure where to place your head, I like to turn my chin slightly upwards. And again, we're thinking about reaching through our fingertips to the opposite wall over our head. Hold for 3, 2, 1, and shake it out. Give me some shoulder rolls. All right, hopefully our back behind our shoulders is feeling stretched out. Let me go ahead and show you some more now, okay? As I mentioned before, when we're sitting on our desk, we tend to be in this forward rounded position, right? And even when we're not at our desk, a lot of things we do in our life, we have our arms out in front of us and our shoulders are in this internally rotated position. Now, what happens when we're in this position all day is that some of these muscles on the front side become chronically tight or shortened, right? Particularly the pecs or the chest muscle here, okay? So to open that up, I want you guys to go ahead and grab your chair behind you, okay? And then from here, again, we're gonna sit up nice and tall, chin raised, and then we're just going to lift our chest up and then pull forward. In this position, I want you to focus on pulling your shoulders down away from your ears and then pinching back behind you. I like to imagine that if you have a grape between your shoulder blades, you're thinking about squeezing that grape, right? And then you're just gonna hold it here. If it feels like your neck is tight, you can also go ahead and just turn your head side to side, or even tilt your head ear to shoulder, right? One side might feel tighter than the other, right? We're not always symmetrical, so you can even twist your chair, focus a little bit more on that left side, or twist your chair the other way, focus a little bit more on the right side, okay? But what we should be feeling is a stretch right here in front of our chest and right in front of our shoulders as well, okay? All right, go ahead and loosen that up, shake it out. Hopefully we're feeling a little bit taller now, a little bit less rounded, right? So go ahead and relax for a little bit, okay? All right, moving down our body, next up, we're going to stretch out our back, okay? As well as our trunk, okay? This next one is just an overhead reach, but what I find is that we don't spend a lot of time with our arms up or back behind us, right? Like I said before, we spend a lot of time with our arms in front of us. So one thing we can do is, if you have a desk in front of you, go ahead and place both hands on the desk with their thumbs pointing up. You want to sit closer to the front half of your seat. And then what I want you to do is, again, keeping that tall upright posture, we're just going to slowly push that seat back. Keep our eyes looking up, and then we're just going to drop our chest slightly. All right. Now, right here, you should feel this stretch in your mid and upper back, okay? If you already feel it right here, then that's all you need to do, okay? You don't need to go any further than this, all right? But if you are a little bit more flexible, then you can go slightly lower if you can. But in this position, I really want you to focus on keeping that chest tall and upright as much as you can and not collapsing, okay? So you don't want to place that strain on your lower back. So you want to keep that chest tall, keep that chin up, and then hips back. And you should feel that stretch down your spine, okay? All right, before I move on to the legs, I have a few more stretches I want to show you while I'm seated here on this chair, okay? So, some other common areas of pain or discomfort associated with sitting too long are going to be lower back pain, as well as tightness in our mid back, right? So a great one I want to show you is a glute and piriformis stretch. Our glutes is basically our butts, right? It's that big muscle that sits behind our hips. Our piriformis is a muscle that kind of runs laterally at the top of our glutes, near like right underneath your lower back. And sometimes we might feel some discomfort there. So a good way to stretch that area out is go ahead and cross one leg over the other. Instead of having your ankle on your thigh, I want you to go ahead and try and push that leg a little bit lower, okay, if you can. Again, we're sitting as tall as possible. If you can't sit up tall, then I want you to go ahead and just bring that leg out and adjust yourself until you can, okay? And then all we're going to do is grab your knee, and we're gonna slowly pull that knee towards our chest. Again, just a little bit of pressure is all you need. You don't need a whole lot here. And right here, you should already begin to feel a stretch at the bottom of those glutes, okay? If you want to get deeper into the stretch, I want you to go ahead and rotate your chest towards that side that's being stretched. So if I'm holding my right leg, I'm going to slowly think about turning my chest towards my right side and hugging that knee to my stomach. Okay, we're going to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very good. While my leg is still crossed, I'm gonna go ahead and get deeper into the stretch as well, into a figure 4 stretch. So now I'm going to bring my foot to the top of my knee, okay? Now my knee is a little bit more laterally placed, so it's a little bit more out to the side. I'm gonna gently press my knee down to the floor. And if I want to get deeper into this stretch, I'm going to lean just slightly forward, okay? If you already feel a stretch right here in the back of your hips, then that's all you need. You don't need to go any further. But if you're a little bit more flexible and you want to get deeper, you can grab your desk. And just like before, we're going to push the seat back, keep that chest tall, and then just reach forward towards the edge of your desk. Let me go ahead and show you on the other side. All right, so again, hands on the desk, we're gonna push the seat back, and then we're going to reach forward towards the edge of the desk. Again, right here, I'm focusing on keeping my chest tall and erect, and I'm also focusing on pushing this knee down towards the floor, okay? Hold for about 10 to 15 seconds. Low pressure is all you need, and then you wanna relax, all right? Cool. Now, before I move on to the lower half of our body, I want to quickly say, with all of these stretches, you want to take yourself to a point of mild discomfort. So when you're performing any of these stretches, if you feel any sort of pain, I want you to go ahead and ease off of it, okay? If it feels like a serious pain, then my best advice is to go seek your physician or your doctor and get it checked out, okay? But whenever we're stretching, you want to feel mild discomfort. So it should not feel comfortable. It should feel, uncomfortable. But if you feel any sort of sharp or shooting pain, then I want you to go ahead and stop and ease off of it, okay? So some things to look out for. All right. Now my last few stretches for you are going to be standing. It's going to be more for your lower back and for your legs, okay? Now, I showed you a little bit more of that the overhead stretch. If it's uncomfortable to do on the chair, there's some modifications that you can do standing as well. If you have just like a tall desk, you can always drop down to the knees. Again, hands on the table, and then drop your chest like so. Or if you have a wall, you can go ahead and place both hands on the wall, step your feet back, shoulder width apart, slight bend in the knees, and then you're gonna focus on pushing your butt back, chest out, and then dropping your chest in between the arms, okay? So those are modifications that you can do outside the chair as well, okay? Same thing with the figure 4 stretches as well. You can always grab a desk and do it standing. Perfectly viable, okay? All right. The next stretch I want to show you is going to be for your hamstring. When we sit a lot, our hamstrings become chronically tight. And so when it becomes tight, then a lot of times our lower back starts to take on more strain, right? So a lot of times if we feel discomfort in our lower back, stretching that lower back may not be the answer. You actually may want to focus on stretching the glutes or hamstrings and see if that helps, okay? So to get into this one, I want you to go ahead and place one leg on your chair, like so. In this position, I want you to focus on keeping your heel down and your toes pointing up towards the ceiling. Another thing I want you to be mindful of is your stationary leg. So your stationary foot may be tempted to turn outwards, all right? And so what I want you to do is go ahead and turn that foot in. I like to say all 10 toes pointing straight forward, okay? All right, now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna stand as tall and upright as I can. We're not slouching, okay? I'm going to take my opposite arm, reach forward, and I'm just going to take it very slow and reach for the top of that chair. As I'm doing this, I'm thinking about pushing my hips back, slight bend in on that stationary leg. Right? If you can't reach for the top of the chair, that's fine. You can also reach for the armrest. Or if you're at a desk, you can reach for the table as well, right? So if I'm here, I don't have to reach for the chair. I could just go ahead and just touch the table and hold it right here. And this might be a deep enough stretch for you. Now, while we're holding this, I want you to make sure you feel this stretch down here in the back of our legs, okay? That's our hamstrings right here. We don't want to feel this in your lower back. If you feel in the lower back, you may be rounding your spine a little bit too much. So again, just be mindful. Keep that chest tall and erect. Keep that spine straight, hips back, and then gently reach forward, okay? You're gonna hold it here for about 10 to 15 seconds and switch legs. Now, as you may have noticed, I don't rush into any of these stretches, neither should you, okay? So you wanna make sure you get into all these stretches slowly. You also wanna make sure you're breathing. If you find yourself holding your breath while you're stretching, you're probably going a little bit too far, okay? So make sure you take deep breaths. In this position, you can also focus on rotating your hips in and out to get deeper into the hamstring. Your hamstring is comprised of multiple muscles, so sometimes it does take a little bit of angle play to stretch out all the muscle fibers, okay? All right, so that was for the hamstring. The last one I want to show you is for your calves. Calves is an underrated muscle that we tend to neglect very often, but it's important because our calf muscle plays a big role on our ankle mobility, right? And if we don't have good ankle mobility, then that tends to create more problems up the leg and into the spine as well, right? So, a good way to test your ankle mobility is just to see how far your knees can go over your toes as you come down, right? If you find that your knees can't go very far forward, then the calf is an area that you may want to stretch. So to do this, you can start with a wall or you can use a chair. I'm going to show you the wall first just because it's the most accessible version. But what you want to do is go and place both hands on the wall. Okay, we're going to take one foot, step it back. Again, notice all 10 toes are pointing forward, okay? My back foot's not turning out. And I also want you to focus on pressing both heels down to the floor, okay? Now from here, I'm going to keep this back leg as straight as I can, keeping my chest tall, and I'm just going to squeeze my glutes and push my hips forward. Right here. So I should already feel a stretch down my calf and towards the bottom of my ankle. So your calf is actually comprised of two big muscles, right? The one that sits on top, right into the skin, that's your gastrocnemius. That's a big calf muscle. So this right here is touching on that gastroc. And if you want to get a little bit deeper into that bottom, deeper muscle, that one's called your soleus. And in this position, all you're going to do is bend your knee slightly, and then you'll feel that stretch travel down closer towards that Achilles tendon, towards that ankle. And again, you're just gonna hold it here 10, 15 seconds. If you wanna warm it up a little bit, you can also get into some calf raises to get some blood flow into that joint and muscle. And then just go ahead and shake it out, all right? Make sure you repeat both sides. Now, if you find that your muscles are tight, I recommend you hold for about 15 seconds and do about 2 to 3 repetitions. Well, that's all, folks. Once again, my name is David Lee from UC Riverside. Just a couple more reminders before we close it off for today. Number one, again, make sure you take each stretch slowly, okay? You don't want to go into any stretch too fast because otherwise you may end up creating more damage than good, okay? Number two, if you feel any pain at any point, make sure you ease off, okay? When we're stretching, again, you want to seek for mild discomfort. It should feel uncomfortable, but if you feel any sort of sharp or shooting pain, then you want to go ahead and take it off and take it easy, okay? Last but not least, if you are feeling chronically tight in any area of your body, I highly recommend that you do these stretches throughout your day. It is most beneficial that we move throughout the day, okay? So if it helps, I recommend setting alarms on your phone, setting a reminder, or just getting up from your desk and taking a walk around your office or outside for a couple minutes, okay? And that's about it. I hope you guys found these tips useful, and I hope you all begin moving well again. Take care, and I'll see y'all next time.